Hello and welcome. It's your girl Mahawa Kamara here, and thank you for joining me on my channel where we talk about all things faith, family, and business, of course. And so today we're going to be looking at a very, very interesting topic, one of my favorite topics, which is 3 things we can learn about personal branding from Jesus, the master himself. But before we get started, I just want you to do a little tiny thing for me, and that is to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And that just allows you to get notified whenever a video goes out or whenever we share content. And so thank you for joining. And so today we're going to be looking at 3 things that you can actually learn about personal branding from Jesus. Yes, I said it. You can learn 3 things about personal branding from Jesus. I think you must have had to be living under a rock to not have heard of Jesus Christ, the master himself. And whether you believe in him, whether you believe necessarily in, what that, in terms of the religious stuff, that's really besides the point. That's not what we're looking at today. We're really going to be looking at his principles and how we can learn from those principles and apply them in our lives and in our businesses, actually, to be honest. So 3 things that you can learn about personal branding from Jesus. The first thing you can learn, the first thing that it is actually Jesus knew who he was. He knew who he was. He knew he was the Son of God. If you go into the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that you have what are the I am sayings of Jesus, which is where he says, I am the resurrection, I am the truth, I am the way to the Father. He was very, very clear about who he was, and that made him very, very intentional also. And so for us, it's about being really clear about who we are. What is that we believe in? What are our values? Because essentially those are the things that really build up our personal brand and what it is we're putting out there and how we want to impact and influence the world. So he knew who he was. He had a very, very strong, I don't even want to call it a conviction, because he just knew. That was his consciousness, we should say. That is how he thought. That's how he lived. He was very, very clear about who he was. That's the first thing we can learn about personal branding from Jesus. So it's, get very, very clear about who you are and what you believe in, what you're about, definitely. The second thing we can learn about personal branding from Jesus was he knew his purpose. He knew his purpose, he understood his purpose, he believed in his purpose, and he actually endorsed his purpose. Now, what do I mean endorsed it? He spoke about it himself. He knew his purpose. He knew his purpose. And as he says in John 10:10, I have come to give life and to give it more abundantly. He knew that he'd come to save the world. He knew why he was here. He knew his purpose. And that allowed him to actually take that, if you want to say, risk of actually going to the cross. Because he understood that purpose. He understood that that was the very essence of why he was here. So in terms of us building our personal brand, what is your purpose? What are you here to do? What is the mission? What is it that you're really, really here to do? And what is it really about? So that's something, in terms of building our personal brand and our businesses as well. What is the purpose of it all? So he knew his purpose, he understood it, and he endorsed it. So that's the second thing we can learn from Jesus about personal branding. The third thing we can learn actually was that he spoke about his mission. He wasn't afraid to share it. He wasn't afraid to draw men to himself because he knew why he was here. He knew who he was. He understood his purpose of being here and being alive. So he wasn't afraid to share that message and to share that vision. And I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, we're so afraid to share our personal message because there's a personal message in your business and there's a personal reason why you probably started that business. And so he wasn't afraid to share his mission, his reason for actually being here. That gave him, those 2 things that we covered before, gave him the boldness to challenge, the status quo and what he didn't, what around him wasn't right, regardless of who cared, regardless of what anybody was going to say, regardless of what people thought Jesus really, this is something that he really understood, and he wasn't afraid to do. So he wasn't afraid to share his message. He wasn't afraid to share his very reason for being here. And so, because he makes it very clear, and obviously scripture shows us, because I got my notes, guys. I have to get my notes, okay? Scripture tells us that, you know, times will come up, and you know, Jesus, he wasn't afraid to say, this is why I'm here, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what's going to happen. So he was very clear about his message. He was very clear about his mission, and he shared that mission. And I think that's something that's very important in terms of personal branding and building a personal brand, along with growing your business as well, is what is the mission? What is the purpose of it all? Not just, you know, the purpose of your business, but you as an individual, your purpose and really mission for being here. And so that's something that, you know, we learn in scripture from Jesus. And so we can take those same things and apply it to our businesses, to our lives, to our families, and in just getting from where we are to where we want to be. So, I mean, and there's no better person to learn from than the master himself. So I leave you guys today with those 3 tips. Let me know how you are using those, or if you have any comments, questions and query, please leave a comment below and let me know. I'm going to put the scriptures and the links in the comment box below. If you have anything that you want to share, please hit me up and share with me. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and of course YouTube, all at Mahawa Kamara. You can also see what I'm doing at www.mahawakamara.com. And if you want to know a little bit more about my business, you can find me at www.thesoapconnoisseur.com, and all the social media links are the same as well. Thank you for joining me today, as of course we look at all things faith, family and business on this channel. So I hope to see you guys again soon, and let me know if you have any comments, queries about the topic today. So thank you. Bye.